We are the people, and this is our podcast. I wrote a jingle because a man, there was a battle between the smug man and the one true smuggest mug. It did stand up. Wish you had pants, cause now I'm feeling cut. We are the people, and this is our podcast.
We're back.
We're live. Hello, everybody.
Been a while.
Been a while since
People's
our
Pod.
podcast.
Full strength. Got rid of Pop. He couldn't keep up. He was buried under a pile of children this morning.
I'm glad that was a funny text that I sent. Pop said he was, work was crushing him today. I was like, oh, do those kids get unruly and start fighting back? And now you're on the bottom of a dog pile? It was a classic joke.
Got him.
How have you been, Collin?
Oh, man. Let's see. So good. I'm trying to think what I did the weekend before last, because it's been, 2 weeks since a podcast came out. Coached again. Whatever, we'll just do about this last weekend. All right, all went down on Wednesday morning. Chelsea and I flew up to the Bay. Her family, of course, is in Fremont in the East Bay. We were there from Wednesday until Sunday. We arrived. Our flight was pretty damn early. So early that we arrived at like 8:30 a.m., I think, in the morning. And it's a short flight, but still, we got up at like 5 a.m. But had the whole day ahead of us. Chelsea's dad picked us up from the airport, went to their house, kind of toddled around a little bit. Then went and played disc golf with Evan and Alice and the twin baby girls. That was fun on Wednesday. Yeah, played Oyster Bay, which is a cool course because for each hole, there are 2 pads and 2 pins. So 4 combinations per hole. So we did one, 4 of us played. Evan had a fantastic round and won. I had a rough round. Could not find my putt. Alice has a crazy scoring system where it's like every hole over a certain foot range, like distance, but I think it's like 350, she knocks off a stroke from par. And then she also has the ability to shoot unlimited discs from any one of her throws. So imagine she approaches with a disc and then goes up to that placement with like 2 putters. She can putt twice from that disc. Which is my understanding of her rules, and unlimited mulligans. So there's a lot going on with her scoring system. And then Chelsea, bless her heart, she was out there having a grand old time, but basically playing bogey golf. So that's like her scoring system. So all in all, great time on Wednesday. Thursday, I went to San Jose to have a big Thanksgiving dinner with one part of Chelsea's family. Football was on the TV. The wine was flowing. Actually, Thursday morning, Chelsea and I had a really pleasant hike around this little nature area where we saw those turkeys. And I think I sent a video of turkeys inside the group me. Yeah, it's nuts. Like after that video, we walked like right up to them. Like I was 5 feet away from these turkeys. And there was like a giant turkey gang. Yeah, so they're protected or something. But that was fun because it was on Thanksgiving. Which, side note, in the past, in their neighborhood, I've seen a turkey gang on the roof of someone's house, like 15 feet up on someone's roof. Turkeys are amazing animals. We have no idea. It doesn't seem possible. I'm like, how the hell are these turkeys on the rooftops? But they can do it. So watch out. You know those pictures that are always like, it's unlikely that your pet will kill you, but not 100% certain, and there's always like an angry cat or something like staring at their owner. That's how I feel about wild turkeys. It's unlikely, but not 100% certain.
You're lucky to have gotten out of there with your life.
Yeah, and
It
some
would
of
have
them
been
were
a
like big
real
old boys.
it would have been a
But
real shame had you taken the L over Thanksgiving and vacated the year of the gall.
actually, what would have happened is that my lineup would just stay the same throughout the playoffs. Now that all my players have had their buys, I'll just win anyway with this lineup. That'd be a fun bet.
Wow.
What if I just don't change my lineup for the rest of the year and see if I can just win out? Can't do
You
it.
wouldn't.
I'll tinker myself into a loss somewhere. I don't think you guys want me to leave it as it is. Anyway, that was Thursday. Football, family, dinner, wine. Oh, met one of the founding members of Chain Lightning, Atlanta Chain Lightning, which is nuts. It's one of Chelsea's uncle's buddies, this guy named Timmy Leiter. You actually can like look him up on like Ultimate Reference. The long and short of it is that he went to Georgia Tech, and there's another team out of wherever, I guess it was Atlanta. They didn't play together, but they would always lose to Dallas, a Dallas team at regionals. And so then they combined forces and they made Chain Lightning. So he was literally a founding member, and he went to nationals a ton. He played against Condors, like back, this is like the mid 80s. This is like 84 when this happened. Yeah, Timmy Leiter, Leiter. Timmy Leiter is his name. If you search like Chain Lightning, he might come up. In any case, that was crazy. It was funny because this guy now is like really into cycling, as Chelsea's uncle is, and he also is like an avid disc golfer. And so Chelsea and I are just like listening to this guy talk, and we're laughing because I was like, this is me in 30 years. This literally is like me in 30 years. This guy is who I'm going to be. And he like has all my same mannerisms, like really like emphatic about emphasizing all these things and like complaining.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, that was great. Friday, another family Thanksgiving dinner at Chelsea's house for the other side of the family. That was the day the US played England and tied, which is so crazy that kind of thing happens. 0-0 tie. In any case, they're moving on because they won today or yesterday, so that's sweet. Saturday, I then went to Adam's place in Oakland. I took Bart, which was a very short trip. And then I walked from the BART station around the lake, and Lake Merritt is looking beautiful this time of year, not smelly at all. So it was great. Got to Adam's place. We watched the Mexico-Argentina game. He made us some grilled chicken and vegetables from his grill on his balcony. Really pleasant. He also made us some amazing mixed drinks. He was making some Nog brandies and Nog whiskeys, and he dusted them with some cinnamon on the top. It was just lovely. And then we went and played Berkeley Aquatic, different disc golf course. Evan and Alice came, and Winston, and just hilarity ensued. Some highlights. So Winston is their dog. He's a madman out there. He's just like running around, and like obviously I'm riling him up. I'm like, he's just like sprinting around, like jumping in all the puddles, and it's right next to the bay, right? So there's a ton of water everywhere. So he's just getting like filthy muddy. It also is on the water, and so the possibility of throwing your disc in the water is high. And there's one hole where Adam threw a disc and just tailed off into the water. And then he threw a second shot, and that one also tailed off into the water. So back to back, he threw two discs into the bay. The first one, though, was floating, and we had picked up like an IPA mix pack, and I was like 3 or 4 IPAs deep, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go get it. And so then I like hopped in and swam over there and got it and swam out. And everyone who I've told that wasn't there, that their first reaction is, ugh, you went into the bay? Like apparently it's some nasty shit. But that was kind of fun. Went and got Adam's disc. Although I immediately missed my putt for birdie on that one because I was all discombobulated. What's up? You're muted.
Did you drop trowel for that? Couldn't tell from the video, but it looked like you might have been nude.
I was not nude, no. So I took off my long sleeve and my socks and shoes, but I had like boxers and then just Patagonia shorts on. So that's what I went in, the boxers and Patagonia shorts. That'd be so funny. I just fucking get naked and jump into the bay. Yeah. It'd be interesting to like go like snorkeling in there and see how many discs are in the water. Oh, the water is murky. So it's not like you can just see to the bottom, right? So you'd have to like get in there. Any case, that was one highlight of the round. Another highlight in how this course works is you play 9 one direction and you play 9 going back. He's just walking down this like corridor, and we get to the very end, and what you do is you go around a bend, and then you shoot back over just like a little inlet of water. So like potential for throwing your disc in the water, but you also can play it conservatively. So no one had issues with that one. I think Adam might have thrown his like right at the edge, but like you can grab it. It's like easy. But there's also like a porta potty there, like a hand washing station. It's like Adam used the porta potty, and then we're like throwing and talking, and then Winston walks up and he's like covered in something, and I'm like, what is that? And it's just like this brown stuff. And like, but like I said, he was like running around in the mud, and like getting all just like filthy. This was a different color entirely. And Evan put his face down there, or Alice, I don't remember who initially did, but they're like, that's shit. So Winston really went and like rolled in a pile of some kind of feces, probably human. And so and like if you've seen Winston, he's just like little like grayish dog. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say his entire back was covered in shit. And so I had to pick him up, put him in the bay, and like scrub him off. And I like gave Evan my like towel I used to like wipe my disc, and he was like using that to just scrub the shit off of Winston. So that was another highlight, or highlight, quote unquote, depending on how you're viewing the situation and if you had to bring that dog home afterwards or not. But you can imagine Evan's reaction to little Winston. But that round was a pleasure. The girls were very well behaved. Kind of funny, whenever they start like crying or acting up, Alice or Evan will just put like Cheerios in their mouth or something, or like some bread, so they get like preoccupied by like snacking. And then Saturday night we went to Walnut Creek, Adam and I, to watch Stu's show, where he stood in front of that like giant American flag stage. And just in case Pop has his own podcast, I don't want to spoil what went down, but there were some hiccups to the show that resulted in him having to scramble a little bit. But it all ended up great. I posted that Rich Girl clip that is a favorite of ours that he plays. Then went to his house that night. We quickly crashed because Adam and I, his show went from like 7 to 11, and Adam and I were just drinking nonstop. So by the time we got to their place, we were toasty. Sunday morning rolls around, slightly hungover. We roll out of Stu's place at like 9:15 to go to the store to get some burrito materials, both for breakfast burritos and then later on for chicken lunch burritos, which were great. We did like tag teamed all these burritos throughout the day, and then watched football. My team obviously did historically well, and then flew back Sunday night. Monday, I had jury duty. And so I had to go to San Diego courthouse at 7:45 a.m., where then I had to go through like a metal detector. Basically, they had like the airport, same thing. They screen your shit, brought us up to this giant jury room. There's like hundreds of us. They're giving us a presentation like, hey, this is what you can expect. This is the process. These are all the reasons that you can be excused for now, which is like if you have economic hardship or if you're going to be like leaving town within the next few days. And I actually have a flight on Friday to Phoenix for coaching. So I put that on my little form. I'm like, is this going to be an issue? And they're like, no, just write that. And so then basically after they give the little intro presentation, they start calling people in groups. Like, can these 10 people report to this window? And then like 5 minutes later, can these 8 people report to this window? And so that went on from like 9 to 11:30, where I actually was reading Fuzzy Nation, which we've talked about before. So I made a large dent in this. Scalzi, great. It's just getting hot. Just getting hot.
Awesome.
In any case, at 11:30, they're like, all right, if you're still here, you're excused, your jury service is complete. So I was like, woo! And then I left. Your turn. Oh, actually, one more thing. We got a Christmas ale going here. It's from Breckenridge Brewery. Haven't had it yet, but I thought, 'tis the season. Not only do we got a Christmas ale going on, but we have a nice little Christmas Frisbee jersey also going on. That's right.
What the heck? What was the invitation? I got Christmas stuff.
I figured we're gonna record at least one more podcast before Christmas, and it's not even like December yet, so I don't know if I was blowing my load too early. Your turn.
Yeah.
You can run and grab a Santa hat if you want.
Stanley face right now. Yeah, so it's been 3 weeks. A lot has happened since we last podcasted. Namely, I got laid off. Thank you for pivoting to Pop Pop and having the combined pod. That was pretty fun to listen to.
Hey, you like it?
Uh, yeah, it was really good. Um, Basically, how that day went, so everybody can join me on this journey. 9 a.m. ad hoc team meeting. Boss calls us all together. He's like, "Well, team, this is it. It's official. I gotta redo this notice." Uh, so we, read the HR spiel. Basically, we're on administrative leave until January, which is pretty hype, and then we will receive our severance. So I gotta wait till then to find out what my severance is going to be. Um, but yeah, he basically was just like, boom, now that that's over, like, what questions do you have? Uh, because he kind of knew a little bit more. We actually we came to find out that all of us just through the rumor mill like knew more than he did, which is kind of funny, but super cool thing. I like it's odd to say this, but I hope that I get laid off with my team in the future to give my team the experience that he gave us, because he basically, after he read that spiel and we like got done with all of our gossiping, he was like, "All right, team, take like an hour and a half. Let's meet up at 11 and let's go get massages. My treat."
Hey,
Super dope, yeah, right. And then he's like, after that, we'll go get lunch and margaritas. Also my treat, and then we can see where the day takes us. And so it was like really fun. Like we went to the massage parlor. Like it was nice to have that hour and a half just to like sit there with my thoughts and be like, all right, it finally happened. Like then I was like, all right, cool. Now I gotta like get ready to go get this massage on. Today's gonna be wild. Went and got the massage. Moose went across the street. Moose is my boss's name. Uh, went across the street, grabbed some tequila, and the liquor store like gave him some shot glasses too because he was trying to buy them. He's like, just take these. They're like display. Like I don't want them. Um, so then we go to lunch, and before we go to lunch, we like take a couple shot. We take a shot in the parking lot, and then we sit down, eat like at Carlitos, which is on kind of Upper State, near the Arlington Theater.
yeah, it's very close to Brad's place. Actually, it's a Sone's favorite.
Yeah, yeah, it's lovely, lovely time. So we got lunch and we were just started ordering margs with reckless abandon. So I had one shot before lunch, three margaritas with lunch. And basically we're just like kind of finding out who has been affected by the layoff. And we're like getting juiced. We're not ready to leave each other's company. Like one person has joined us at this point. So then we're like, all right, let's do like a little bar crawl, right? So before we do that, we go back to the trunk and try to take another round of shots. But like the girls really couldn't handle it. So it just became me and my boss taking shots together, and taking all the shots that were left over by all the other people. So by the time I left, I was already like six tequilas in,
Reckless
by like
abandon.
2 p.m. Yeah. So then we hopped over. We went all the way down to the press room, for some reason, because like nothing else was open along the way. Got another round of margaritas, and then we're like, all right, let's continue our journey. Made it across the street to Dargan's, and basically stayed there for the night. Like as every person would join us, we'd find out. We'd shoot them a text, "Hey, we're like celebrating. Come join us." My boss would buy two shots and a double shot as like a welcoming, you need to catch up situation. And so he and I would take the shots, and the new person would have to take the double. Not a
Damn,
single
son.
person, yeah, not a single person took down this double shot, by the way. But yeah, me and the boss were going ham. It's probably the drunkest that I've been in a very long time. And so yeah, we stayed out till like, drunk o'clock, where then me and my boss we lived pretty close to each other. So then I went and bought him Habit because we were roasted. and then walked all the way back to my place where he had to continue on a little further. But it was a very cathartic experience. Like it was awesome. The great way to end one chapter and starting a new chapter hungover is kind of fun tradition, I suppose. So then basically the whole week after that is kind of a blur because I think I just kind of sent it. I was like, I thought I was unaffected, but then I was kind of affected. And so I just like, fuck it. Like I can wake and bake. And I'm slowly like doing activities to get ready. Like I updated my LinkedIn, started networking, had a couple different calls with a couple different learning and development leaders. Um, I actually am signed up for 3 Cornell college courses. So I like dove into strategic leadership through Cornell and absolutely crushed that, which is pretty cool. Like the feedback from the professor was like, I have never seen a more well thought and well-rounded presentation than yours. Like,
You're like, you have any buddies that have positions open you want to refer me
yeah.
to?
I was like, well, I'm a professional in a class with a bunch of, well, this is for other professionals, but yeah,
With a
comparing
bunch of
myself to college
18-year-olds.
kids. Yeah,
These dumb shits.
stupid idiots. Yeah. So that was a blur. Just kind of been like, yeah, hosting friends, visiting people, going on bike rides, uh, crushing self-help books. I'm really digging this book called The Compound Effect, which the whole principle, just like in financial terms, little actions add up over a long period of time. And it's been like very fun to try to like combat my personal procrastination. I've learned this about myself. When others depend on me, or like when it's a group situation, I feel like I'm very dependable. But in any situation where it's just like self-discipline, I am the worst. Like I put everything off until the last minute. Like even with podcasting, sometimes I'm in here like the 11th hour trying to get my picks in. Like,
hey,
so,
should I start researching this, or have you done something? Huge
yeah,
spreadsheet.
yeah, yeah. So that's been like one thing that I've been trying to work on is like, all right, obviously it's still very fresh, but I can't just be like a sack of dicks, right? Like I need to be somewhat useful and start like working my way back into reality. So that's been kind of cool. Each day having little goals.
How you feeling now that it's been like 3 weeks since the layoffs? I mean, obviously you're taking these courses and bettering yourself with that, but are you like past it, or any more like lingering like bitterness still? I mean, I guess it's still pretty fresh, but now that some time has elapsed.
Yeah, I feel great. Like I'm bummed that, and I think I've mentioned this before, I'm bummed because there were several big projects that I was like really gaining steam on, gaining momentum, and like they would have been huge accolades. Um, like completing this field training program. I'd started it, we had built it, we had the framework, we did it for one site, and then to make it a global program would have been really awesome. So I'm bummed to not be able to finish that. I'm bummed because my boss is awesome, and so now to have fewer touch points with him in the professional capacity is that's a bummer too. But other than that, like I'm juiced, right? Like I pivoted careers mid-pandemic. I used to be a biochemist. And the more time you spend in the science world, the more niche you become. And you really become an expert on like one or two things. And I really despised that for my future career, right? And in this new path, every day I learn more and more, and I add more tools to my skill set, and I have more to offer. And it's just like, my career opportunities really um are become unlimited in a way. And so in that vein, I actually today like finally was like, all right, like I've messed around enough. It's time to like change my LinkedIn profile to open to work. let's get some passive recruitment
Mm-hmm.
opportunities
Mm-hmm.
going. And then, later in this week, I've already started working on my resume. So I'll start like actively applying to jobs as well. But like within an hour, I've already been hit up by 2 recruiters from my post. So like I wasn't really prepared for that level of
Yeah, they're gonna come.
responsiveness,
It's gonna snowball. So prepare thyself.
which is pretty cool. Like there's complete strangers that are just posting on my thing. Like it's so like it's always self-serving, right? Like, hey, commenting to like help spread the word. Also, if you get a moment, can you post on my article that I wrote? Like, is this what it takes to be like a social media influencer? Okay, I got it.
Gotta get those
I hope,
impressions.
dude. Yeah, I have over 1,000 impressions within an hour. That's not my LinkedIn is not on that scale. It's kind of wild, but
Well, it's not just you.
anyways,
It's like if I were to comment on there, good luck. Then everyone in my network sees it.
yeah,
You
yeah, it's
know.
pretty hype. So basically, I will be famous here very soon. One of the perks of being laid off is, my family tradition is we go camping for Thanksgiving. My parents
Yeah.
usually go out the weekend before. This year, I mean, the deadline for my college class was Tuesday. So I finished everything up Monday night, submitted my project. So then I could go join everybody on Tuesday instead of the normal, like showing up on Thanksgiving. So that was cool to get 2 more days in the desert with the fam, with my niece and my siblings. Marcel came out this year, and it was really fun to hang out with him a lot more. And we were
Mhm.
like duking it out on all the lawn games, like cornhole, ladder ball. We played a lot of desert disc golf, which to your point, the rules are a little bit wonky. Um, I really like Alice's rule for if it's over a certain threshold distance wise, you get minus or you get a stroke added. Specifically regarding the lids, playing with an
Mhm.
ultimate disc, like a par
Mhm.
five with a disc golf disc is just unreasonable.
That's tough. Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty fun. We would just like pick like that bush over there, the really big one next to the trail, and like it's just all bushes, right? And like they're all
Not
large to a
that one.
certain degree.
That one. You hit the wrong bush.
Yeah, yeah. So somebody would tee off, their disc would go the wrong way. It's like, where are you going? It's supposed to go to the left. Like, oh, why didn't you say that? I was shooting for that one over there. Where my disc went? Or like, yeah, putting into a bush, right? Like, there's a lot of like twigs and stuff. So like, is it the base of the bush? Is it
Mm.
any piece of the bush? There's a dead
Hmm.
branch from the bush that's like on the floor. Does that count? And so that was pretty funny to see people try to like logic their way into. I totally nailed that shot, but it felt good. Felt good to get out and throw the disc again. It's time to start training again for aviators. I got my contract. I'm gonna be
Hey,
playing again.
you're
Yeah,
in. Well, you're locked in.
I'm locked in, barring any injuries along the way, or any like crazy traveling jobs that I may pick up here.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, what else has there been? I think that's a good summary. Um, yeah, good times in the Weaver household, and it's really cool to like really not have any sort of like expectations. Like being fun employed during the holidays is pretty hype. Like I'm working, but also not
Not
at
really.
all.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, moving on because we got a lot to cover today, people. We'll breeze through this atonement segment. This segment is basically me telling everyone who owes me a drink that they owe me a drink. First of which, last time I did the podcast with Pop Pop, he made a bet. We made a bet on the Bill Brad matchup where I took Bill and he took Brad, and Bill won. Bill won that matchup. And let's get the exact statistics. I don't think I'm pulling this out of my ass, Stuart. Let's see. We got week 11. It hurts when 4 men are inside me, 130.9 to 92.18 for Cuck Me Black. Brad got cucked, and now you, Stu, owe me a shot. So I'll be expecting that shortly. I see you have struck out. Did I double? Oh, you know what? We're moving on. So Adam actually owes me a shotgun for our matchup, where actually I gave him 2-1 odds this past weekend, and I won. So you owe me a shotgun, Adam. He would not do it until after Monday night's game was completed. So I can respect that. We each had one more player going, but now that game is completed. So I will expect that. But I did
one more player plus 70 points.
Yes, that's right. I mean, 70 might be a little conservative of a difference there too.
I
But in any
hate
case,
you.
I don't make the schedule, and I didn't draft all your teams. Don't be hating me. I do owe Adam apology atonement because I called him out for not doing another shotgun when he actually did do a shotgun, and I missed that video. So this will be my last little tiny screwball shot from the bachelor party. Which, side note, Adam and I saw these in Livermore grocery store on Sunday, so they're out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was pretty annoyed actually. So I went to Bevmo and bought them all individually. And then,
oh, really? One by ones?
Yeah, and then I recently discovered at Ralph's they were selling, like, I don't know if it was a
4-packs
promo
or
item.
something.
Yeah, and it was like significantly cheaper. I was just like, fuck off, Bevmo.
Well, that's our atonement section. Definitely nothing else to cover in that one. Moving on.
We have it listed. I just struck it out, but I had owed you 2 shots for 2 weeks, and I made up for it with a 3rd shot.
You did it
2 weeks ago when I was all like raging against the world. Hate
Maybe that's
everything.
why I've slipped my mind there momentarily. There's so much content going on in the group meet, just nonstop. Things get lost. One minute you got people shotgun videos, next you got Collin swimming in the bay to get a disc. A lot going
Full
on.
rain, and then you have Stu in front of a giant flag.
Okay, so listener questions. We got one listener question. This one is a fun one. The question from Adam was, and actually I'll read it verbatim to do him justice. Mailbag, can we get a Pepe Silvia board explaining what needs to happen for each person to make the playoffs with 2 games remaining? Now, perhaps we'll do that next week when there's 1 game remaining, because with simply 2 games, I did not have enough time to prepare an entire board and just get my crazy antics prepared. But we do have a lengthy prepared document. So, how do you want to do this?
You should just go ahead and talk through what you crafted. I added a little segment about the rest of season strength of schedule.
Cool. I actually copied my spreadsheet and sent you a copy because I didn't want to divulge my predictions. Yeah, that's right.
You're so secretive. Yeah.
I don't want to influence your thought process, right? I want like the fresh Weaver thought process.
Yeah.
You know, but all right, without further ado, actually, let's back up. As we're doing this, I'm like periodically refreshing my work email to see if I'm needed. Okay, set the stage. 3 teams have qualified for the playoffs. Those teams are myself, O'Malley, and Scott. 1 team is eliminated, that being Brad. He has 3 wins. And there are 11 people ahead of him that will finish with. Actually, I should scratch that. There are 8 people ahead of him. Dude, there's a lot of numbers going on this spreadsheet. I sent Adam a picture of this, and I was like, I'm already confused, basically, when I was doing it. Brad has 3 wins. Currently, there are 8 teams that have 5 wins. There are 6 teams that have 6 or more wins, which means that Brad cannot leapfrog any of them, so he's eliminated. So with the 3 people that have qualified and the 1 person who's eliminated, there are 8 teams left. In order, currently today, we have Evan, who's in 4th place. My notes for him are he's 6-6, which is his record. He's in a great spot because not only does he have good points for at the tune of 1360, he also has 6 wins, and I think 6 wins will be the minimum to get in. So he already has the wins threshold, and he's got the points. He's in a great spot. Currently in 5th place, we have Adam, who's also 6-6. Really nothing remarkable about what he's got going on. His points for aren't great. He's got a tough remaining schedule. Yeah. 6th place currently is yourself, Mr. Weaver. At 6-6, you have the lowest points for, and you probably need at least one more win to qualify. Because even though you have 6 wins right now, your points for are very weak and pathetic. Currently in 7th place, we have Gay Buffalo Dick, which is Maxwell. He is 5-7, but out of all of these 8 people who are still eligible but have not qualified, he has the highest points for at a little over 1,400. 8th place, we got Bacon and Schultz Creek. He is 5-7. He has unremarkable points for, but he has the longest winning streak at 2 of all the 8 remaining contenders, which I think should be noted. He's the longest winning streak. Currently in 9th, we got Bill. He's 4-8. He's got good points for, and interesting to note, has the highest remaining waiver budget of everybody here. He's got 57. Now, that is not the highest out of everyone in the league. Both Scott and I have more than that. But of the 8 who are still competing for a playoff bid, Bill has the highest waiver amount left. 10th, we got Zangels in the outfields, which I actually didn't realize that Stu's nickname was, his name was plural, outfields, until I actually copied all of this, which makes sense because it is Justin Fields. And also he's out, which is kind of funny. He was out and his name is Fields, outfields. So
Gosh, there's layers.
I'm giving. Yeah. My notes for Stu are, and actually this goes for Bill and Pebbles as well. They have to win out if they're gonna make it. They got to win out.
And they need some key losses from everybody else.
They need to win out, and they need to get some help. But Stu's points for is pretty all right. He's 1, 2, 3, 4th highest out of these remaining 8 guys. And last but certainly not least, a dearth of talent. Pebbles is 4-8. His points for are also weak and pathetic. And he has the longest losing streak of everyone who's on here at 4 in a row, which is kind of rough because that means he was 4-4 at one point, right? Mm-hmm. Now he's 4-8. So that's all my notes for those people. Before we get into the actual matchups, do you want to throw any more commentary on how things stand currently?
Yeah, I think it's like you kind of pointed out, there's the 3 tiers. There's the I need some help tier. There's the, duking it out. We're probably going to make it tier. And then there's the like, this is sketchy tier.
Barely alive.
Barely alive.
But still alive.
Yeah. Okay, that's fun. I don't know if this is a good time to talk about strength of schedule or not.
Yeah.
Before
Why
you
not?
hop into the next.
Yeah. Why don't you do strength of schedule, and then I'll do my notes for the next 2 weeks that I have listed.
Looking at the tier, the comfortable tier, the 6-6 tier, I think that Adam is the most likely to fall out of playoff contention, and that's because he has the hardest. Him and O'Malley have the hardest strength of schedule remaining, where Adam has to play the 4th ranked team and the 2nd ranked team currently. So 2 contenders. So that's a bummer for him. Versus like myself, I have the easiest strength of schedule. I'm playing Brad and then Bacon. Both teams scored under 100 in our previous rivalry matchup. Mm-hmm. I mean, so did I, but
details. Yeah.
Yeah.
Semantics.
Yeah. After me, Pebbles has the second easiest strength of schedule. So if he can get some luck here, he might be the most in line for a meteoric rise. Because yeah, Adam, Bacon, Max have the hardest strength of schedules out of the remaining contenders. So that's fun.
That is fun. Those
Yeah.
first two guys get to play yours truly. Actually, Adam just did play yours truly. In any case, week 13, my notes, lots of things going on. There's what is this? There's 3 matchups that are really fun this week. Oh, well, in terms of like this board,
Contenders.
right? Yeah. Well, these are the hopeful contenders. The contenders for the playoff qualification. Yeah. I believe contenders mean like title contenders, which there's the 3 top seeds aren't included in this. The three top seeds aren't included in this. How can you talk about contenders without the 3? Whatever. That's a different discussion. That's a future podcast, right? That's a future podcast. I'm getting all hot and bothered now with that.
Semantics.
Okay. Week 13. We have Evan and Adam. They're playing. This is a fun one because they currently both have the same record. And so after they play, one of those teams will have 7 wins. And that would be huge, right? 7 wins. 6 wins will probably get you in. You get 7 wins. That's a big advantage. So that's my notes for their matchup, is basically the person who wins it is going to have like inside track to the playoffs. It's a big game for those 2 guys. After that, we have Max and Pebbles. They play. So this one is interesting because Max could move to 6 wins with a win, which is the threshold, right, that you need to get in the playoffs, 6 wins. And if Pebbles loses, he's out, right? You lose, you're out, Pebbles. And the same is said for Stu and Bill, and they play each other. So that's super fun because one of those guys, the loser of their matchup, is eliminated from the playoffs. So those are my week 13 musings. You play Brad and Bacon plays Scott. I guess those obviously you want to win those games, but no one is technically eliminated if they do lose those games. Do you have any thoughts on week 13?
Yeah, I think not week 13, but like 6 wins as the barrier of playoffs is an interesting one. I think historically it's been much higher, no? Like 7 or 8.
Right. It's kind of weird this year because there are some teams at the top who have so many wins that the teams that are kind of in the middle or the bottom, they're still in it. Like, even though like it's kind of, you know how they like rank teams in pool play where you take out the first place team. Basically, if you have a pool of 4 and that first place team beats everybody, you remove those results when then you finalize the other 3 teams. Because like the top team beat everybody. So you take those results out and then you compare the results amongst the remaining teams. It's kind of what we have going on here, right? Where like there's teams at the top, like if you were to remove those results, which probably have resulted in 3 losses for many of these people, right? 2 or 3 losses, then it gets much closer. And then that win total, that record looks better, quote unquote better.
So this year, I'm thankful that I was not your rival.
I have 1 loss, and it's the 12th place team. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? He keeps reminding us.
The original.
Super side note, if I get the high points in one of the next 2 weeks, I will play for free.
Damn you.
And if I remember correctly, first place regular season also has a bonus. It was $100. So it's probably $200 now, which means then I double play for free. That's how it was last year. That's right. And I could not win in a single game. And so whatever. It's not about me. This is about the playoff hopefuls. I'm getting sidetracked. And I got to ruin another later. I'm going to hot. Okay. Week 14. Dude, I took that fucking screwball shot. I'm drinking this Christmas ale.
This smug is leaking out of every orifice.
Adam's comments today was so funny. He was like, Collin was so smug over the weekend. I could tell he was reining it in. which I was reining in because I was having a good day and he was having a less than good day. And I didn't want to rub it in / get like fucking pile driven to the floor again by my good friend Adam, you know?
I know how that feels. You were on best behavior with me at the bar. You had a couple slip ups,
Well,
and
Cordell
a couple.
Patterson scored the first touchdown of the day, which was crazy.
That one was completely unintentional. Where you called me over. Hey look, Huntley.
Oh
Huntley
yeah.
goal line carries. Waddle over to you all excited, and then Cordell Patterson gets
Subs
subbed
out.
in for the touchdown. Fuck.
That's fun. All right, we're getting derailed. Week 14. Evan and Bill play, and this is a potential elimination game for both of them. By that, I mean Evan currently has 6 wins. If he were to lose this week and lose against Bill, he's probably out. Although his points for are okay. But potential elimination game. And Bill, if Bill wins this week, then he would need to win next week. So that has implications in that matchup. You and Bacon have the same thing, right? So if you were to lose this week and Bacon were to win this week, then same, right? You both would need a win to get in. But beyond that, it's a little too far out to postulate anything more, at least how I see it. Do you have any thoughts about week 14?
It's good content. Let's move on.
Predictions.
Oh, you have to have predictions.
This is what I removed from the spreadsheet. All right, here are my predictions. I predict that Collin, O'Malley, and Scott will make the playoffs. No, okay. I predict that Evan is going to make the playoffs. I think that, like I said, he's got good points for, and he already has 6 wins. I think Adam is not going to make the playoffs. Like you said, he's got a rough strength of schedule. I think he loses out. Then I think you actually do make the playoffs by the skin of your teeth. You'll be very lucky too, because your points for, again, are very whop. However, I think you have a good chance of winning this week. And I don't know if you've looked at this, but in week 14, you play Bacon and half his team's on a bye. So if you get
bet your bottom dollar, I've looked.
that 7th win, I guess if you just strength the schedule. And then I do think Max gets into, because he currently has the highest points for. So if 6 wins is the barrier, and there's going to be some cannibalization elsewhere, I think that he gets in. So I would say the last 3 spots would be Evan, Weaver, Max are my predictions. And then Adam's got a rough road. His one note, and another note is that Stu is a dark horse in all this, because this week he plays Bill, and if he wins that, he still has the inside track, basically like controls his own destiny. But he's got to play Scott in week 14, and Scott is a strong team, so that's tough. I think it's tough to win out for those bottom 3 guys.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you predict?
Interesting. I feel my thoughts were exactly your thoughts, but since this is a podcast and we can't go down the same road, I'm gonna go ahead.
I will go
say
down with
that
this shit.
I think that Adam. Oh, let me just check real quick what my pick'em is.
Yeah, I had to also take that into account when I was making my predictions too.
Yeah, I think Adam loses this week, but is able to beat Etienne Good in the neighborhood.
I would love that, by the way.
The final week win and get in. So I'm picking Evan, myself, and Adam, the top tier, the current 6-6 teams, to get to 7 wins and solidify.
So out of the remaining, what is that, 5? Who would you have, like a dark horse in there that you would say, like, who would be the next person you would choose after that?
The next person I would choose after that would be, gosh, I guess Maxwell. Yeah. I'm not I'm not picking anybody out of the 4 and 8 tier. That's just simply too far
It's a
gone.
long road. They got the
It'd be a
longest road.
legendary. Yeah, yeah. It'd be like a Frodo-esque victory.
Stu, Adam, and I were very briefly, Lord of the Rings will come up in conversation. And what was discussed was how heavy all the pots and pans had to be that they were carrying around. Like if they got like multiple cast iron pots that they're hauling around on their pack, and like if you ever picked up a cast iron, any of you beloved listeners, those things are heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
That's like a
In the
two-handed
end,
pickup.
Sam is using it to like bash in orcs' heads. Like that thing has some heft.
All right, next segment. That was fun. We'll do this again next week when all is soon to be revealed after this week's results. But now we get into our waiver wire action. So why don't you take the lead on this one? As I have no notes.
Yeah. Super fun. This week I feel like can have a very large impact in the remaining part of the season, right? Michael Carter injury is huge for Zonovan Knight. All of a sudden you have a running back that has access to touches, and he proved himself in that first game. So it remains to be seen whether or not James Robinson is going to play a role. He was a healthy scratch, so that was weird.
Also dropped by Evan. Do you see that?
Also dropped and available. So we'll see if there's a bloodbath for that waiver wire pickup as well. Jordan Mason is a fun sort of desperation play in a way. Desperation is the wrong term, right? Christian McCaffrey
dart throw.
It's a dart throw with it's like an anonymous phone tip, right? Something is happening. Something is afoot, and this is the first lead, and so he's pulling at that string. Jordan Mason would be an excellent pickup. Like the Niner running back always produces, always. It happened with Elijah Mitchell last season. It happened with Jeff Wilson this season. Christian McCaffrey, if he goes down, next person up is going to produce. It's just like death, taxes, and alcohol.
Niners running back production and alcohol.
Yeah. Inevitable.
Death, taxes, and your significant other wanting to talk to you on the phone in the most inopportune times.
Oh my God, yeah. Honey, this is terrible timing. One thing that I was surprised that there were no like real competition for, Benny Snell Jr. and Jalen Warren on the Steelers. Really like missed opportunity for me. I'm putting this a missed connection Craigslist ad up. I'm gonna write it after this podcast is over. So on Monday night, I have a dearth of just garbage on my bench, and I'm just looking at all of the players on the Steelers and Colts. Just like,
as you
who
should.
do I add? Who do I add? I have one leftover like add. I went to add Jalen Warren, but I had played Darnell Mooney, even though I knew that he was gone for the season. So rip for that. And then I just like got distracted, and then my time was up, knowing full well that I was probably going to drop Trey McBride, probably going to drop Watson as well.
Yeah,
right? So,
Warren was your previous pickup. You had him.
Yeah, I've made a couple of these, and so that'll be unfortunate for me once again, like the Jeff Wilson pickup, if Jalen Warren is a contributor. But basically, we know that Najee is hurt; he couldn't finish the game, and there was very little competition for these backups. So that was interesting to me. And then I was a little bit surprised by you not wanting to pick up the Josh Jacobs backup, considering he's got his calf strain going on.
You mean Amir Abdullah?
Yeah.
Well, there's another guy, Zamir White. So I think if Jacobs does miss time, there will be a committee. We will solve this in a committee. And also, I don't think it matters what happens to me in the next 2 weeks.
The smug is strong. This is the beginning of the entry. You're finally getting a taste of injury, sir. It's finally happening.
At this time last week, and Adam can attest to this, maybe not this time, Friday is when it happened. Friday, Josh Jacobs comes down with the mysterious illness. Saturday, I see Adam and I'm like, I don't know what to do. He might not play. Patterson plays at 10 a.m. Jacobs plays at 1:25. Do I sit Jacobs and play Patterson? Do I just roll with it and like see what happens? And I basically had the same attitude I did as I just told you. I was like, you know what? It probably doesn't matter. I'm just gonna keep him in there. It probably doesn't matter. And then he scored 46 points. So I'm like very not worried about Josh Jacobs. Like probably the least worried I've ever been about any player who's ever been injured on my team.
Oh my
right
God,
now.
I hate you. Then we have uncontested Mike White pickup by Stewart. Could be huge for him. He's a waiver wire QB whisperer, right? He picked up Fields.
He's
Fields
got 4
blew up.
wins.
Yeah, he's got 4 wins. But Fields has given him
Yes, that was amazing.
two of those.
Yeah, for sure.
We got Jermichael Hasty, the running back for the Jags, filled in for Etienne when he got hurt. We'll see what's going on there because that's weird. That has huge implications for keeping it in the neighborhood.
Hender
So
dog also looming.
smart, cheap handcuff option there. And then there's the old $7 Cleveland defense pickup by yours truly. Well, I've spent $17 on defenses for the remainder of the season, but
You need
I'm
to win,
riding
man.
that green train. You gotta win. You gotta win.
You need to win. I think that's perfectly fine. And like I tried to pick Cleveland up. I put in a bid, not $7, but
It was a WAP bid. That's what it was.
oh, my bid.
But yeah. It doesn't matter. My name's Collin. Go.
Let's see. We got this week, we got next week, and then we got 3 weeks of the playoffs. There's 5 weeks left. There is gonna be some injury in the next 5 weeks that I'm just gonna fucking go all in on whoever the backup is.
Nice. That's cool.
Speaking of which, last week there were some big waiver wire pickups. Samaj Perrine goes to Max for $66, who he then did not start, which is kind of crazy. The next offer for that was by Schultz Creek, 0. So Max spent 66 uncontested. I should say uncontested. He spent 66 budget dollars on Samaj to not play him. Who scored? He's 17 points, which is a good week on the bench.
That's like also the annual budget blowout sale, right? Like, I think Max and Scott and I guess now Bacon are 3 players that every year they just go hard in the paint on one player.
Demarcus Robinson was acquired by Evan for 20. You had the next highest and only other offer at 7. I don't think Evan actually even played him. That's another fun one. And okay, so the last thing I want to talk, last thing, 2 things. There's so much going on. One, Pebbles reacquired Tyler Higbee for $11 and then drops his ass again. So that's sad if you're Pebbles. 2, Bacon with the Christian Watson offer, 15. The next highest bid was 9. So I think that's a good bid for Bacon to make, right? Like he won it flat out. And since that happened, Watson's put up 19 and 20 points in back-to-back weeks. That guy looks like the truth. And flying back on Sunday night, we were able to get the game through Southwest Wi-Fi. Got injured. He's removed. Jordan Love comes in, throws a long-ass touchdown to Watson. I mean, it was more like Watson ran most of it, but that's encouraging to see for Bacon. That doesn't matter who's the quarterback, Watson is going to be involved. heavily involved.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great pickup by Bacon. And like if he somehow miraculously makes the playoffs, Watson's going to be a huge part of that.
You want to hear some nauseating fun facts about Christian Watson?
Are they nauseating or are they fun? Well, which one are they? I don't know.
Nauseating. They're nauseating. He is currently tied for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top 6 in the league in touchdown receptions. He currently has more touchdowns than Cooper Kupp. Oh, sorry. No, he's tied with Cooper Kupp. Excuse my language. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. Oh, somebody stop me. How awful is that? Like, he's blown up. Great money.
He's had some big
Well
weeks.
spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the waiver wire segment. What else we got going on here? This is going to be a 2-hour podcast, gentlemen.
I know.
We get
We're going to pick it up.
Golden Nuggets and Fool's Choice. And I have a note here to remind you about the Miami defense.
Oh my God, yeah. So I spent $17 the last 2 weeks on my defenses. You spent $1 on Miami, and they scored what, 17, 18 points?
18.
Yeah. So in the very beginning of the season, I had Dallas defense, and they posted up a dud week 1, and that's when Dak got hurt. And in week 1, Miami scored like 18 points or something really solid against who I thought was a competitor. Let me look it up real quick. So I made the bold decision. Yeah, they scored 18 points against New England. So I was like, fuck, Miami's the truth. So I bailed on the Cowboys defense, picked up Miami, and they immediately rewarded me with negative 4 points.
That was an exciting
How
game
fun.
against the Ravens. That was a super exciting game. I mean, negative 4 points is not exciting, but 42-38. You remember that game? It was just like giant touchdown after giant touchdown going back and forth.
Yeah, just haymaker after haymaker. And yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because like Dallas found ways to win without Dak, and they've been a top 3 defense all season long, and like a little move like that can affect your whole fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, so in your defense of this defense, they scored negative 4 against the Ravens. They had 9 the week after that against Buffalo, which is a good offense. But then they had 1 point, negative 2 points, and then 3 points in the 3 weeks after that. And then they had 12 against Pittsburgh because they're terrible. But then they had 1 against Detroit. So, like, it's not like they've been consistently good, you know? Like, in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 first weeks, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of 3 points or less. 2 of those were negative, right? So,
yeah, and I started one of
blame
them.
yourself for dropping that shit defense.
No, I dropped Dallas though. Who
Okay,
that's the team that I dropped for the negative, the guard. I was fool. It was fool's choice, fool's gold.
Speaking of which, that is perfectly wrapped up into our next segment, Golden Nuggets and Fool's Choice. Let's rapid fire do it. Yeah, this is the segment. This is drum roll, everyone's favorite segment.
I'm ready.
One, nothing silver about it. This is all gold.
Golden Nuggets. We'll start with your matchup, Smuggy versus Dak in the Stackle again. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to watch George Pickens play. That guy, he consistently is putting up highlight reel catches or like just barely missing super highlight reel plays. He's very clearly the alpha of the Steelers offense. Adam has been sitting on Rashad White all season. He tried to ship him over to me back when I was the Fournette owner back in the day. Fournette's now injured. Rip. I'm so sorry, Pebbles, the way this trade has worked out for you. But love to see it for Adam's team with Rashad White getting good work in. And then hopefully Mike Williams heals up for this final playoff push, because that would make your team like very solid. Fool's choice for Adam is that he had to start Evan Ingram this last week, and this isn't Adam's fool's choice. It's more a fool's choice of the NFL. So when I saw Evan Ingram, I was just like, no way. Like, is he fantasy relevant again? Like, because he was the original Kyle Pitts, right? There was so much hype about him, and the Giants were going to be such an explosive offense. And then
Every
it just,
preseason, it was like, this will be the year that Ingram takes off.
yeah, never.
Currently in Adam's starting lineup for this week.
Yeah, that's tough. But this led me down a path, right? Like, I was just like, oh, Evan Ingram was the last like vaunted first round draft pick that I could think of. Well, the fool's choice is for the NFL, for any team that drafts a tight end in the first round.
That's fun.
2021, we have Kyle Pitts at number 4. 2020, everybody wisened up, didn't draft a tight end in the first round. 2019, TJ Hawkinson, number 8 overall, and Noah Fant, number 20 overall. Not even on the same damn teams as
Both
they
have
were.
been traded. Yeah.
Both have been traded. That's crazy. Hayden Hurst, 2018, 25th overall pick, also on a new team, and also has been doo-doo.
I think he's on
We'll
his
go back
third team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's on the
Ravens, Falcons, Bengals now.
Bengals. Wow. 2017, we had OJ Howard at 19th overall and Evan Ingram, 23rd overall. I mean, the fool's choice is whether or not to draft the tight end in the first round.
I will say, I think the jury is still out on Kyle Pitts a little bit. And Hockencock is good. I think he was traded more of like Detroit is like, we need more resources and we're terrible right now. Not that Hawkinson was bad.
That may be true.
But we'll see. Yes.
Historically speaking, he has not panned out to get that first round value, right? He hasn't been a difference maker for a franchise that you're hoping. Versus, like guys that are drafted later. But yeah. That's back in the stackle. You want to take one of the not top 3 matchups?
Yeah, sure. Let me see. Oh, not top 3. Okay, of the top 3. So there's that one. There's that one. And you did Schultz Creek as well. Is that correct? You did. I heard one. Foreman was having. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So Zane Jules in the outfield versus DeBonesaw is ready. This is gonna be an easy one. Evan take the L. Evan is heavily reliant on the Chiefs and the Niners. Half his squad are those two. My golden nugget is that Evan picked up the Seattle defense for not last week, but this week. So even though the Niners played great against New Orleans and they got him 15 points, this next week they're playing against the Dolphins. Evan wisely picked up Seattle defense in one of those similar situations where it's an available free pickup. And they are playing the Rams this week. And Evan at 6-6 probably needs another win. So that was a great golden nugget, is his preemptive Seattle defense pickup. His fool's choice, we'll talk about Demarcus Robinson and the $20 that he spent on them. Even though he was a hot pickup, he went 9 for 9 with 128 yards, which is a lot for sure. The Ravens' passing offense is very hot and cold. They just freaking lost to the Jaguars. So I think that was, it's easy to now say it was an overspend, but what was your next closest bet? Like $7 or something. So he did start him, Robinson, that is. He got 2.2 points, which is 1 reception for 17 yards. So playing him instead of one of the 3 wide receivers on his bench who all scored double-digit points. Burks on Tennessee, Thielen on Minnesota, and then Moore on the Jets. A little bit of hindsight for sure. And actually, let's see. If he would have started Thielen, who he was starting, he still would have lost by a handful of points. So that one move wouldn't have been the difference. Actually, all of his bench receivers outperformed his starting receivers, so that's tough. But biggest fool's choice is the winning acquisition of Robinson and then playing him over Thielen, who had been riding with like basically all season.
Yeah. Never mind. All right. I'm gonna take a dearth of talent. Huge pickup for you, Golden Nugget. Huge pickup. AJ Dillon played well. He looked really good. He's finally getting involved, like seemingly having the role that everybody thought he would have in the preseason. So hopefully that'll help you round out your second RB slot, or I guess maybe your first one, depending on things. Hollywood Brown came back and led the team in targets, like straight out of injury. So that's huge, right? That was a big question mark how him and Hopkins would coexist. So that's a huge sign for you. And then you made some big moves this week, picking up Jalen Warren and Zonovan Knight. They may end up paying huge dividends to you if Najee is actually supremely hurt and if Michael Curtis is out as well. So well done, making moves on the waiver wire, clearly trying to avoid the Buckaroo Bowl. And returning to our Lord of the Rings metaphors, Jamar Chase getting healthy at the right time. He's like Gandalf coming in on the third day, saving Helm's Deep, keeping you from the title of the ultimate Buckaroo. So that's exciting. I think your team is like finally getting healthy, and hopefully it will be in time to get, like, if you miss the playoffs, get that one W to keep you out of the Buckaroo Bowl. Fool's choice. This is actually not for you, but for Cortland Sutton. Would you accept the birthday party invitation for Russell Wilson's birthday? I don't know if you saw this. It's all over the news today. Like, Ciara threw Russell Wilson a birthday party at their house, and about half of the Broncos showed up. And I think I would go personally, just to be a good teammate. Probably to see, like, try to check out all the toilets with the toilet to touchdown.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, try to use them all. Would you go to?
I would go.
Yeah, good teammate.
Yeah, I would go. Although we also haven't played with Russell this year. We haven't had to sit through his like Broncos country. Let's ride.
And him doing like plyos in the aisleway, waking you up in the middle of an overnight
on the way to
international
London
flight.
Yep.
Fade me, fam.
Right. Okay. We got Gabe Buffalo, Dick, and Thomas the Tank Engine. Congrats on the win, by the way. You really needed one, and you did it. I thought
really
you were
did.
just like spiraling into the toilet, and you currently have lengthened your season. So this is a big win for you.
Yeah, God.
But we're not talking about you. Because this is Golden Nuggets, and Golden Nuggets for Max. It's got to be Justin Herbert having a Justin Herbert game. He's been very middling, I think, this entire season, right? Like, this is not the quarterback that Max thought he was getting. I mean, just looking at all of his results, like, there's more sub 20 results than there are over 20. But in this last game, he had 3 touchdowns, 274 yards, 2-point conversion, no interceptions. Like, this is the guy that you spend the draft capital on for Herbert. So that's the Golden Nugget. And they have a few more shootouts on the docket coming up. So I think Herbert will continue to produce. And yes, Keenan Allen is back, and he's the Keenan that we know and love. Fool's choice. You know, it's got to be not playing Samaj Perrine after spending 66 waiver dollars on him.
Isn't his name Samaje Perine? Am I?
Perrine. I Maybe. It's impossible to say. It's, improbable that your pet murders you, but it's not impossible. So P. Ryan. P. Ryan was acquired to not be played. Maybe this was a strategic move by Max. Maybe he doesn't want anyone else to have P. Ryan, which I can definitely relate to, although 66 seems like a very specific and astronomical number to do that. But I'm not inside his mind. I know it's tough to sit one of Kamara, Barkley, and Elliott. It's easy to look at Kamara's output of 4 points against the Niners defense and say that was a bad play, but that was 2 lost fumbles within there. But I just think it's curious to spend that much waiver budget on a player who you're not going to play, who then is the starting running back for an offense who he himself scored 3 touchdowns the week previous. So it's a little confusing to me there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one. Max's team is good. They just maybe he's lost the locker room. But yeah, if you oh man, yeah, tough. All right. It hurts when 4 men are inside me. And just like your name realization with Angels in the outfields, I just realized that it's 4-man, Deontay 4-man.
Yes.
I didn't notice that until
this was
just
concocted
now.
during Adam's draft weekend. I remember being Bill's little confidant, his little finger in his ear, like, yes, change it. Yes. Yes, that's
really
yes,
fun.
that's great. Yes.
That's the one. Yeah. Some golden nuggets for old Bill, Blood Diamond Bill. He's probably Blood Platinum Bill. Again,
yeah, that's what's
at this rate. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's back. Even like such an abysmal performance from the Colts on Monday Night Football, Jonathan Taylor, he looked good to me, and his usage was obviously elite with Matt Ryan running for his life. Juwan Johnson only had 2 targets, but both of them were in the end zone against the Niners. One of which he pulled a play out of Stu's playbook. He tried to catch it with his face, and the results were the same. He fell over and hated himself for a couple minutes.
That's interesting because that guy was like super lauded by all the pundits. Like, over the last month, he's the number 2 tight end or something. Like, you got to pick him up, you got to play him, and then a 0 burger. That's rough.
Yeah, rough. That's been the story of his season. I wonder if he's going to commit some pretty high draft capital to tight end next season, because he's scored. He's been battling tight ends all season long. I think this is not the second, but maybe the 3rd time he's scored 0 with his tight end position, which is a bummer. If Michael Carter can't go this week, currently in his starting lineup, he has Gus the Bus ready and waiting. 1 more week healthy. J.K. Dobbins isn't back yet, so I can easily see that pivot for him. So he doesn't have any gaping holes besides tight end, but everybody.
I mean, 4 men are inside him, so
yeah. Unfortunately, Foreman is on a bye. He's been carrying Bill the past couple weeks. Huge waiver wire pickups in the running back position for Bill. His fool's choice, and this is looking ahead, Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore is happening again next week. And so Bill will have to decide whether or not he plays his stud against his stud's kryptonite. It's like widely documented how well Lattimore does against Kevin's. And last week, Kevin's seemed to like not really care. He gave up on 1 or 2 balls that should have been like long completion. So it seems like he might be like out on this season. So, but you never know. Like, you go up against your rival and you want to just punch him in the face and get ejected, right? So that's the fool's choice that I got for Bill.
Last fool's choice matchup, Golden Nuggets matchup, excuse me. We have performance enhancing drugs versus Cuck Me Black. Gold Nugget is a very easy one. Talked about watching the Packers, Eagles on the plane home, and Miles Sanders is crushing it. I legitimately thought that Brad was going to win this matchup based on Sunday night because Miles Sanders was going ape shit, right? He had 143 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 17 receiving yards with 3 receptions. Brad ended up losing by less than 3 points, which, maybe that was one more lizard catch that didn't happen. Yeah. So Miles Sanders is like the truth there. The Eagles are so good. So it's just great to have that. Poor Brad. Fool's choice. Strolling out Kenyon Drake there, although he was kind of in a tough spot because Joe Mixon didn't play with a concussion. Brad only has terrible running backs otherwise on his roster, so maybe a little roster management would have been in order. It's funny we talk about Nyheim Hines being acquired by the Bills and how that was gonna be such a big thing, but he literally has done like nothing with it. After I don't know, was he acquired in week 8 or after that? It was after that. So he's been on the Bills for like a month, and his total points is like around 1 in 4 weeks because he has a negative point week. But my curiosity is why Brad's got 2 kickers. He had to stroll out a baloney Kenyon Drake to lose by less than 3 points to eventually end his season, at least in terms of competing for the playoffs, when Gus Edwards was back, while holding on to 2 kickers. So I think that's his fool's choice. And it's not even like super great kickers. I got 2 kickers, but it's Butker and Myers. Like, I don't even know who this Matthew Wright guy is. And I don't know. I'm just rambling now. He's got some good production the last few weeks, but it seems like a little desperation mode that Brad should have been in that he was not and resulted in the loss.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
just focus
tough,
on
right?
Miles
Like you don't.
Sanders and his golden nugget.
Yeah, that's tough. It's hard being on the bottom, like every move feels like desperation. So, maybe he's doing what he can with what he has. I don't particularly remember last week's running back waiver wire to be all that great.
AJ
So
Dillon was out there.
AJ Dillon,
Deontay
which
Hilliard was out there.
before Dontrell Hilliard, yeah. I mean,
Dontrell Hilliard.
before last game, AJ Dillon really had not scored double digits since week 1. So it's just with the benefit of hindsight, we applaud the AJ Dillon pickup.
Sure.
He might also just put up doo next week as well. Who knows?
Also true.
It's hard being on the bottom, man. You shut up from your smug throne. Yeah, the weather is very different down here.
You're first of all not on the bottom. Don't say down here. You're in a great position somehow. So yeah, I think some people would take umbrage of you saying down here with your 6 wins. In any case, we're super overtime. Should we do rapid fire on these picks and then not even give any commentary?
Yeah.
All right. Between myself and O'Malley, this is going to be a tight one. I have game of the week question mark just because there are playoff seeding implications involved. Namely first round bye implications, but I'm taking myself.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be provocative, so I'm choosing O'Malley.
That is provocative. Okay, who do you have in Pebbles against Max?
I have Max winning against Pebbles.
Okay, I'm taking some notes here so we can slander
But
you
this
next week.
this
I'm
is
also taking
one
Max, by the way.
I think that this is one where my gut wanted me to pick Pebbles, and I think this is going to be a Buckaroo Bowl. Just real quick, I know we said no commentary, but Max's lineup has some tough opposition with his running backs. Kamara's playing Tampa Bay, Saquon's playing the Commanders, Zeke is playing the Colts, who like they're hot garbage, but I don't know. He's been splitting time with Pollard, and yeah. Anyways, I think this is the contender for the Buckaroo matchup of the week.
Buckaroo matchup question mark. In this next one, between Bacon and oh geez, we're clicking. Scott, I'm taking Bacon.
I'm going with Scott. I want Bacon to lose and his team to be defeated heading into week 14.
My main two notes now that we're talking about things. First one, Watson has been phenomenal, and I think he will continue to do so. Second, Darnell Mooney is out. Chase Claypool is on Bacon's team, currently not in the starting lineup, but now is the number one. Uptick could happen there.
What's the upgrade of garbage?
What's the upgrade of garbage? Shiny garbage? Less
hot
smelly
garbage?
garbage. No. Hot garbage smells bad. You want not hot garbage. Stu versus Bill. I'm taking Stu.
Oh, who am I taking? I'm taking. Where is it? I'm taking Stu too.
Hey, that's an
Going on a
elimination
heater.
game, by the way, folks. So pay special note to that one. That I also have perhaps matchup of the week question mark as in one of my notes there.
That's fun.
And actually, this is a fun fact. How many QBs has Stu started this year?
Ooh.
Yes, throw out a number.
5.
5 is correct, and I actually thought it was more. You want to name them? Go for it.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Fields. He will now be starting Mike White.
I guess after
is that
this
part
week,
of this count?
5. After this week, it'll be 5. Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe I want to say Goff.
No, this one is kind of sneaky. I'll give you 2 more guesses.
Marcus Mariota.
Nope, that's your boy. I think you're the only one that started Marcus Mariota this year.
Sit on my Stafford.
Trey Lance.
Week 1, Trey Lance.
I think it was week 2. Week 2, Trey Lance.
Rat. Wow, rip.
He also picked up Daniel Jones and had him on his roster for a while, but never started him. So I actually thought it was more than 5, but 5 is the number. All right, we're both taking 2. Next matchup, we got Weaver and Brad. Why don't you? Oh no, I'll say what I'm taking. I'm taking Weaver.
I was about to get very angry at you if you chose otherwise. I'm choosing myself as well because I really need this win.
You do, and I chose you to make the playoffs. So I think 1 + 2 equals Collin picking Weaver this week. Last matchup, Evan versus Adam. I'm taking Evan.
I'm taking Ev Dog as well. It's a tough order that Adam's got. Gibson is questionable. Mike Williams questionable. His replacements are maybe Raheem Mostert, who's also questionable, or Jordan Mason, and Matt Collins. Ooh.
Evan's got some questionable Niners on his roster too. In his lineup, just throwing it out there for devil's advocate's sake.
It's true. But to your golden nuggets or fool's choice, he has better replacements waiting.
Both these guys have one of those backup Niners on their roster. Evan has one and Adam has the other. So that's kind of a fun subtext in there.
That is subtext. Cool. And that's it, right? We got them
That
all?
is it. That is all of them.
Awesome.
I think we had one difference. So, of course, that will be our shot bet. Let's see. Oh, you took Scotch. Yep. What do you want to bet on that matchup?
Scott versus Bacon.
Yeah.
I'm down to bet a shot.
All right, shot bet. It's in.
Shot bet. Hey. All right. It's time to go. I was supposed to work out, but it's dark out. All right. I'll go for a run. I've been sitting on a heat pad, alternating between my hamstrings and my lower back just to make sure that I don't pull anything on this light jog around the neighborhood.
Not because it's a chilly Santa Barbara evening.
Also because it's cold as F in my house. Yeah, that's also true. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. Well, if it's hot, then it's super hot in my house. But if it's cold or moderately nice, It's cold in my house. All right, that's it. Great session.
Good luck,
the
everybody,
producers
including
are yelling at
O'Malley.
us.
I wish you the best of luck in the wars to come.
Hey, yeah, true that. All right, talk to you later. Peace.
We are the people, and this is our podcast. I wrote a jingle because of Command. There was a battle between the smug man and the one true smuggy. Smuggy did stand up. Wish he had pants, cause now I'm feeling cut. We are the people, and this is our podcast.